My name is Ogoev. I'm also of Discovery of Psychic Energy and Scientific Revolution Energetics. I would like to give some report on criminal events of last few years of my life while I'm alive, while I can speak, because too many people are concerned to hide truth from the world, from the people, because too many people are concerned to steal my discovery from me, my work of 30 years, my hard work, for which all my blood was shed during those 30 years. And now, while I can speak, while I can breathe, I don't think I will be able to do this for a long time. I want to give my own report in my own words of some most ugly events, criminal events around me, connected with pressure of secret services, on also of discovery of psychic energy. First of all, you can see me. This is my remains. I not look like a person, like a human being anymore. It's just some pile of bones and flesh, some formless pile. And this is exactly what I feel physically. I am exhausted and had heavily ailing. I have big wounds, bloody wounds, fourth stage of incubable ulcer, and so on. Those ugly events are so numerous that I'm lost which to begin with. I am concerned the most to narrate cause of events with Sevak Oganesyan, Armenian gold digger who was lodging under my department with special aim to assist, to take me from my house to Med House. I think big sums of money was promised to him. I have heard his talks with his brother, or who was it, I don't know. They say he was living with his brother. His family still stays in that department under mine, and he is under arrest because I was forced to call police. And I heard such sum of money like $1 million. For my part, I don't doubt that they have been discussing the case with payment for assistance with murdering me, scientist. But there was some preliminary events with assault on my mother. And I will begin with this crime. First of all, I must mention such ugly, wicked criminal men like Ogoev Alan, Minister of Education of Republic North Ossetia Alania, and now he is rector of University of North Alania. I knew him from university. We spent 1 year, 1 year of study in university together. And this is all I knew about that wicked man. Then I was under attack of that man for many years, which shocked me because I could never imagine that simple communication in class in university can lead to such consequences. Even now, I am lost. What he wanted from me, all those years of hounding me. Then some ugly event in our republic had taken place. Zalina Dudueva, his colleague in Ministry of Education of Republic Alania, has found me in internet and communicate to me horrible news that she was working with that man, Ogoev Alan, and that she was concerned with problems of children with autism disorder, and she did her best to find money in Moscow for regional budget for autistic children, and she succeeded in that aims. She got some money in local budget from Moscow for autistic children, and then all she has got from Moscow was plundered and looted by local mafia, including chief of Ministry of Education, Alan Ogoev, whose case she has taken to prosecutor office and kept lamenting looting of budget money for autist children in such offices of uh, of police. This was reason to attack her for local mafia. And then that ugly event has taken place. This woman, Zalina Dudueva, had to go. She had 3 children with autism disorder. This is why she was so concerned with this problem. And it was time for her to go with her 2 younger boys to Moscow to give them some treatment in hospital. And this was first time she couldn't take her daughter because she was now 18 years old, and she had to wait her passport. She couldn't take her. She left her alone in her department, and asked Ministry of Social Care to take care of her daughter. She left for Moscow with her younger boys. Now, this girl was attacked with men. They easily opened her door and raped this virgin, innocent, ill girl, 18 years old, alone, without mom, with autism disorder. The horrible fact is that this was not even once, but few months. All the time, her mom was absent with boys in Moscow. She got into sexual slavery to those criminals, blackguards, wicked perverts. And few months, this poor baby, innocent, without this disorder, was heavily beaten, was regularly raped, was sold as prostitute. And apparently it was her disorder which kept her mind from final dissolution. Zalina Dudueva communicated all this to me, all this data on attack on her daughter, and altogether with another data that she was going to prosecutor offices with lamentations on looting budget finance of autist children, and that she got many threats, and that only after these threats, this attack on her daughter had place. And I have recorded her report and published it with my own report on criminal behavior of Ogoev, those Minister of Education and Rector of Northern Ossetian University. I published evidence of Zalina Dudueva and my own in one book, Corruption in RSO Alania, and another book, I Accuse Pagans. In my book, Brothers Ogoev, I also mentioned that man, because of his persistent hounding of my family. Now, it was after publishing that book in 21st year that attack on my mother, first on my mother, had place. It was call of some wicked girl who talked with my voice. Me and my mother live in different departments. She comes to me regularly, but she lives in her own flat. And it was a time when she was in her own department. They called her phone, and with my voice, with my weeping voice, crying with pain and despair, talking to mother, help, help, I'm dying, I'm dying. Me and husband of your other daughter, my sister, we were going to hospital, and disaster, automobile disaster had place, and I am dying, and I need your help, I need your money, give me all money you have. And crying, I am waiting for operation on my brains. With 1 hour, I am going to under the surgery on my brain. This kind of words to old, sick woman, with heart rended by disease of her daughter. They sent some men who took all the money she had 100,000 rubles, and she was in very bad condition then. This was attack on my mother, and this was spring of 24th year. I wrote all the event, I recorded all the events and sent them to site of President of Russia, and got answers that everything will be investigated. But of course nothing was investigated. I have answers. I published them. This was spring. Then in summer, Sevak Oganesyan, Armenian gold digger, was here, knocking my door with my neighbors. The thing is, he's Armenian and he's a stranger, and everybody knows I don't open door to strangers, only to people I know well. So they made conspiracy with three old women I know very well from very childhood, compelling them to bring him to my house. They were 4 persons when they first knocked my door. 3 old women I know from childhood, and that Sevak Oganesyan, Armenian gold digger, who had come to earn his $1 million for taking me from my house to Med house. When they came that evening, it was evening, he said that he is my new neighbor under my department. He did not buy it, and now it appeared that he had no even any permission to live in Russia. He couldn't make any legal contracts. He was paying to possessor of department for lodgings. It was his lodgings, not his own department. And he said that he is having troubles with some leak from upstairs, and he has come to me to solve the problem with leak. That time my washing machine was old enough, but it was not leak. Anyway, I agreed that that machine could make some problem with water leak. And after they had was gone, I changed washing machine and bought new washing machine. She's this machine is still working now. So no problem with washing machine anymore, and no pretext to knock my door again. This man had such plan as to make friends with invalid, and then to stage some I even don't want to imagine their dirty mind plans. The fact is that he offered his help with changing washing machine, and I refused that moment. I said firmly that I don't need his help, and invited my old acquaintance Gennady. I know him for 20 years. He was doing everything with Santechnica in my house, and it was he who changed my machine. From this time begins criminal behavior of that Armenian. He is beginning to find any stupidest pretext to beat my door, not to knock my door, but to beat my door with violence, to threaten to break it down, forcing me to open door in late at evening. One evening, beating my door and threatening to break it down, he told me that he has pictures that not merely leak from upstairs in his department, but he's flooded. He's flooded, and he has pictures to show to me, and I need only to open door to see them. I said to him that I will never open him door, and that I will send to him tomorrow Santechnik. And when Gennady next day came to his department to see what the catastrophe with flooded department was there, he said to him calmly that there is no any leak from upstairs, that it was noise, simply noise, which troubled him. This is beginning of his overtly, avowedly criminal behavior. Then, when he and people behind him understood that I'm not afraid of threats to break down my door, and that I won't open them door, they begin to think how to legally break down my door. And one evening, neighbors knocked my door, women, and told me that there is leak of gas in our entrance, and that Everybody thinks it is from my department. This was unfolding of the plan to present me mad, suicider, who is letting gas in his department to kill herself, and in such way endangers neighbors, their health, their children, and that she must be taken out to med house. Then it didn't work too. We was here with my mother, and my mother said, why you came to our department? There is no gas in our flat. You can come and see yourself. Then one day, it was exactly the time that they made my assistant. I still had assistant. You see my conditions. I'm dead man, and I had assistant. Now I have no assistant. We were left together with my old mother. He is not much stronger than me, because every assistant who enter my house is next day recruit to this mafia. And all this is going under coverage of Putin's secret services, because I'm writing to side of President of Russia of these events from the very beginning and getting many answers. When I wrote on rape of daughter of Zalina Dudueva, and on the case with me in Moscow when my backbone was crushed, I wrote to investigate both cases of attack on me and on daughter of Zalina Dudueva. I got 7 answers from office of prosecutor, from MVD, from I don't know, in English, Следственный комитет России, and so on. 7 answers. All of them are in my documents, published many times. This means that Putin's secret services not only knows all this cause of events, but controls and direct it, running it. This is why that Armenian gold digger Sevak Oganesyan was so bold. He used to say, when crushing my door, that he's not afraid of police. He'll call police himself. And ultimately, finally I called police, and they take him under arrest, and he is being now, as far as I know, around 10 days under arrest. And what I'm talking about with assistance, it was the time that I had assistant Tatiana. She was not a bad woman, she was a good woman. Major part of them was normal, good women. But this horrible circumstance is that they cannot resist pressure of such forces, criminals, secret services. They are afraid for themselves, for their families, and maybe paid also. But I don't think that every of them would agree only for payment. They are also afraid. And finally, all of them agreed to do everything they forced them to do. And this woman agreed finally too. She didn't want, I saw this well. She even began to have troubles with her heart. She began feeling badly. She didn't want to do it. They asked her to exchange my tablets, my medicaments, to poison me. I don't think they aimed to kill me. They aimed high temperature to take me from house to hospital, and then to do their deeds, their dirty deeds. I don't even want to think what kind of deeds again they planned. But I think this was a plan to take me from home again, not to kill me here with that poison, because she succeeded in poisoning me. I did not die, but there was a very high temperature, 41, and I felt I would die. There is video into that. I made a live video with that 41 temperature, telling that I has been just poisoned by my assistant. It was that time when Sevak Oganesyan was under me, beating my door regularly, and simultaneously they made my assistant to exchange my medicaments. Such a comprehended attack from all sides, systematic. And then this attack was also resisted because I understood what was happening, and I began washing with bactericide preparates my wounds, and escaped hospital that time. It was last time that I had assistant. I dismissed her. I recorded our talk on on that problem with exchanging my medicaments. I told her straightforward that I think that it was she who changed my medicaments to poison me, and that I know that it was not her fault, that she didn't want to do it, and that she was forced. She did not admit it her fault, but she twice asked my forgiveness. This was last time I had assistance, and it was January of 25th year. Now we are passing to the final stage with this crime of Sevak Oganesyan lodging under my department with his intention to take me from my house to madhouse with the help of local mafia of Ogoev and secret services of Putin's regime. And we are arriving to my brothers, Ruslan and Roland, who participated in this dirty business of Sevak Oganesyan. I have problem to formulate a number of year in English. In 20th years, I published a story with attack of my brothers on deathbed of my father. I accused them in poisoning deathbed of my father, and I persist on this accusation. They did poison him. He didn't die with natural causes. He was murdered by that poison. And this was 2008 year when he was poisoned. 2008 year. But I published this story in 2020 year. After 12 years. It was not easy for all of us to survive this situation. And all those 12 years, I did not speak with my brothers. In that book, Brothers Ogoev, where I narrated the story with poisoning of deathbed of my father, I told that the head of this criminal operation was elder brother Ruslan Ogoev, vice-president of Federal Party Communists of Russia. And that it was his fault, that he was blamed for involving his brothers in such a wicked, mean, base deed. Moreover, Roland, after that, was forced to pay money to get closed in madhouse. He felt so bad. He was crying all the time. He was regretting. He loved his father, and he was ashamed with what they have done to him. And then, after madhouse, when psychotropic drugs destroyed his brains, he stopped feeling his conscience. It was a dissolution of personality, like with everyone who went through those institution, that institution. The result was dissolution of his personality. Now I know it very well. Then I still remembered that he was always crying, and that everyone, my aunt Nusa, witnessed that he was crying and telling her that he regret his deed. And that this meant that he could go to office of prosecutor and admit his fault, concede his fault, to give evidence of everything, like heroes of Dostoevsky, of brothers Karamazov. They really thought that he is able to do this conscientious act, for he was reading Gospels all his life, and they thought that his conscience is still alive. If he was regretting so gravely his criminal deed, if he was involved in that deed by his blackguard brother and his wife, Ruslan and Ogoev, I really thought that there is chance that he will publicly concede his fault, and that this will purge our family from this horrible crime. And this is why when I was last time in hospital, I let him to come to my hospital to give his care, his brotherly care to invalid sister. And now this was September 24th year when I was in hospital. September 24th year. Now, returning to cause of events with Sevak Oganesyan, in this last spring, summer of 25th, I am mentioning participation of Ruslan and Roland in this crime, in this attempt to crime, to take me again to madhouse. Once Ruslan did this, he took me from this house. I was not invalid. I was a normal person on my own two legs. And he forced police to take me to madhouse for 3 days. They planned much more time. It was me who shortened the time to 3 days. It is all recorded in my book, Brothers Ogoev. Now I cannot expand on the subject. I just want to mention that this fact had place in 15th year, 1 month before. My backbone was crushed. And this was Ruslan and his wife who shut me up in madhouse that time with the help of police. And now they returned to that plan. And Ruslan sent here Roland. Last 3 years, not all the time, Roland lived in India in tourist center Goa. 3 years. Now he is 54 and he left for India when he was 50. And this last year, he did not go to India and stayed with his brothers. But when this crime with Sevak Oganesyan began, he moved to the flat of my mother, knowing that we are in very intimate contact with mother, that he is coming to me nearly every day to help me, and that living with my mother means to keep connection with me, contact with me. It was planned movement to her department. Ruslan and Roland himself has many places to stay in this town, but he chose mother's department because they began conspiracy with Sevak Oganesyan. I didn't know, of course, then. And he tried to contact with me. After death of my father, I stopped any communication with brothers. I told them that only their sincere regret their public confession of their fault will purge them from the horrible crime, and that only after this act I can think them again human beings and talk to them. And I told you that it was Roland who made some steps to this public confession of his fault. And I thought that he's able to do it finally. And when he moved to Malta, he tried to contact with me, and he knows that I'm embarrassed here, and I dream to move from Russia somewhere, and he narrated me on India, though he knows nothing on India. He's 2 years of living in Goa in tourist center. What he knows of India. And I tried to talk to him, Dostoevsky, brothers Karamazov, to strengthen him, to confirm him in his decision to make his advance with his fault to prosecutor office, like Dostoevsky heroes, and to say sincerely what was happened, and to purge his fault from his conscience, to clean his fault from his conscience. I tried. I really thought that this was possible, because it was Ruslan who managed all this horrible crime with poisoning deathbed of my father, involving his brothers. I was convinced, at least. And while I sought to bring him to confession of his fault, he was doing absolutely another plan in my house, designing absolutely another plan. Once, when our toilet cistern failed and dripped, few drips, and it stopped giving a flash of water. Mother suggested to invite Roland to fix cistern of toilet, and I hadn't causes to refuse her. And she brought him, and for 2 hours he was dealing with toilet. And as it appeared, lately he did nothing, because it not only continued dripping, but it was getting worse and worse. So my mother brought him again and again, 3 times. And every time he did nothing, or aggravated the situation. And I did not understand what was going on then. I told him that under my department now is lodging Armenian gold digger, that he's waiting his big money for his job to inflict some damage to me, some bitter damage to me, I'm sure. And that he's always cheating, that he's suffering from leak from upstairs. I told Roland this to warn him, to be responsible, because now all my Santechnica was connected with pressure of that bandit under my department, under my house. I still did not understand that Ruslan already in conspiracy, that Sevak Oganesyan and that Roland is doing worse and worse the toilet to give Oganesyan pretext to say that all this time there was leak from my department to his, and that I'm lying, that he was disturbing me without any real cause, just because he is criminal and bandit, and because he has some plan to damage me. And this was part of their plan to accuse me in madness, that I am accusing good men, virtuous men in aggressive aims, because I'm paranoid, because I'm mad. This was part of their plan, how it appeared now. And one day I was sitting here in my kitchen with open window, while I heard the voice of Sevak Oganesyan. He was yelling in the street there, outdoors, yelling that I disturb his his sick mother, and that he will never stand it, yelling, and that he will never stand it. It was asking permission to break my door and to take me from my department to madhouse. I understood it at once. And this time I wrote in Polish. I did not do it before. I told you, because I was sure that he is doing under direct and straight orders of secret services of Putin. I was afraid to apply to police. I really was afraid. But now I had no any other choice. Whatever will happen, now he was openly, overtly asking my neighbors permission, and they gave him that permission because all of them was paid. What the use for them from me, all invalids, they knew from childhood. but they were paid, very good paid, and they readily gave him permission to take me from my house to Med House. They brought him in my house. Three old women which knew me from childhood. They brought him in my house to help him in his dirty deed. And now they readily gave him permission. Of course, you can take her wherever you want and break down her door at last. All this time he was threatening to smash my door. And now they were already going to realize their threats with crashing of my door. By this time, I already understood that Roland was going to do anything but to make public confession of his fault against father. I understood that he was again a weapon of his brother Ruslan, how in case with my father Raman. First of all, I kept saying to him that it was Ruslan who ruined his life, who ruined his soul, because he tried to be Christian. He tried to be spirit and soul, reading gospel. And after that horrible act against his own father, he went mad. And it was Ruslan who involved him in the dirty crime. I tried to persuade him to break down his relations with Ruslan, to make confession to office of prosecutor, to give public evidence of what happened in that days of death of my father. I recorded in book Brothers Ogoev. But Roland's answer was very firm. He said, Ruslan is my best friend, my teacher, and I'm ready to give my life for him every moment, any moment. There was no way to doubt his seriousness, and I understood that all my hopes to bring him to confession, to clearance of his conscience was in vain. Then when I told him many times that Sevak Oganesyan under my department was bandit, and that he was cheating me, saying that there is leak from my house, and this is true reason why he is beating down my door late at night. Once he went in 2 hours at night, and again said that he will crush my door, violate my door. And when I talked all this to Roland, he kept defending Sevak Oganesyan, that he was in the right, that it was my leak in toilet, and that it was me saying bad things on righteous men. It was me paranoid. And I understood that he is in conspiracy, that he is working again with Ruslan, like he worked with Ruslan when they poisoned my father. And there was some bitter analogy with his engineering capacities. When they poisoned my father, we lived with my father in our house, in our rural house in country. And 3 days before he was poisoned, late in evening, electricity was switched off. I know that it was Roland doing this to come to his room and to exchange drugs. And I know that he was doing all this following the orders of his brother Ruslan. And this time again, with this toilet analogy, he was dealing with toilet to bury this time me. And this all became apparent for me by this time, because I told you that I have been many years under pressure of local mafia, Alan Ogoev, Minister of Education, Rector of Oganesyan University. And all this time, when I have been under his pressure, my sister has been under hounding of some Armenian mafia. I don't know who they were. I think that it was Alan Ogoev first who hired them. Now all that is connected with me, also of discovery, is under coverage of secret services. But first it was Alan Ogoev, I think so, who hired that Armenian mafia to pressure me and my sister. And she was under pressure of some Armenian bandits many years. And I told all this. She yourself told all this to Roland. I told this to Roland, and I tied this with Sevak Oganesyan, why they again applied to Armenian men. And Roland kept answering that this is paranoia of me and my sister. that there is no any man hounding us, that this is normal people living their life, that it was we seek fancy, and there was obvious, there was evidence that he's deeply involved in scenario, that he's again working under guidance of Ruslan, like in case with my father, and only then it dawned upon me that he was not fixing toilet but distracting him every time he came. And then I called his phone and directly said him all this and recorded our talk and laid it in internet. Now everyone have heard this record of my accusation of Roland in scenario with Ruslan, Sevak Oganesyan, local mafia, and secret services which cover all this dirty crime and expect results, keeping their hands clean. This day I saved my life when I wrote to police accusing Sevak Oganesyan. Finally, officially, a policeman came in my house, policeman Gatsalov Zaurbek Viktorovich, and took my evidence of cause of events. He was prejudiced as I expected, and he tried to record only chosen by him facts, but I insisted that I have right to record with my own hand my own version of cause of events. And now he says that they have joined this my version to the case against Sevak Oganesyan. I don't know still. I still have no any official document as response on my accusation, on my call to police. I'm waiting for official document, but he sent me in phone talk that my version of cause of events, written with my own hand, was joined to the case. And I hope that this is really the fact. Now I want to say this. All this situation persuaded me that Roland never intended to make confession, to purge his conscience with sincere admission of his fault, And that finally, after he was gone through psychotropic treatment, his psychic was dissolute, was dismembered, his psychic. It was death of conscience. This is my understanding of situation, because here with all cynicism, with all bottomless cynicism, was helping Ruslan to lie on me, to vilify me, to take me to madhouse, boasting his own mental disorder. And when I told him that his disorder had place after that horrible act against father, he refused the fact, but he confirmed that he paid money to get closed in madhouse, that he was bitterly crying after father's death, though he didn't say that it was regret. And he said that he is addicted to psychotropic treatment and that he liked it much, and that he is ready to get closed in madhouse again. All this, he said, to help Ruslan to take me from my house, to close me in madhouse again, now not for 3 days, but for period enough to distract my psychic to the condition of plant, to the condition of mad person, of idiot, of oligophren, of imbecile. And then they would show me to people and say that this person could not make any discovery. This was a plan approved by secret services, whose ultimate aim, ultimate goal was to steal my discovery. All these last 3 years, they have been hounding me to take my discovery, and they took my assistants from my house. I can take assistant, but she will be working for them, changing my medicaments, poisoning me, bringing to my house gold diggers like Sevak Oganesyan, and so on. Horrible damage. This will mean my death is nothing. Death is good ending of this horrible story. It is not death. They want to distract my brains. Do you understand this? I cannot even imagine such catastrophe, even imagine such catastrophe. But their true goal is destruction of my brain. And they do their best to do it, involving blackguard Ruslan, with whom I never talked after death of my father. I did official accusation after death of my father in office of prosecutor, official accusation with my signature and my sister's signature too. We were together to put our signature under accusation of Ruslan and his wife, his brothers, in poisoning deathbed of our father. And there I have enumerate all the facts that made me to arrive to such conclusion. I tried to give a comprehensive report in book Brothers Ogoev, which is available in internet. And now all of them plans to distract my brain. They don't plan merely to kill me. This is nothing to kill me. I don't mind because I understand that they will never give me to live, to breathe, not only give me my discovery. I know that ultimately everyone will know truth, because this is impossible to take discovery from his author. You know this. They are idiots to plan such things. This is impossible. But I know that they can kill me, and they will kill, and I don't mind, because I see they will never give me live, breathe, exist, kill me. But they don't want to kill me. They want to distract my brains. Do you understand the depths of catastrophe? How to perceive all this wickedness, how to perceive this. And they again employed blackguard Ruslan and his insane brother, like in case of my dear poor father. And Armenian gold dealer Sevak Oganesyan, now he is under arrest, and I still don't know what the end of all this horrible story is, taking me from my house to mental house. They plan. I still don't know. I'm talking you all this because I want the world to know the truth. Because I know that it is not distant time when I won't be able to talk to you or to anyone. Thank you.